hopefully the show isn't going to break up too bad tonight. We're going to give it a try. Say your prayers that I can continue to keep live streaming tonight. I don't have. I'm running on a hotspot that I got from my school. My own computer. Sometimes the apartment I'm in has really solid walls, and well, I'm moving into another apartment, but once I do that, I'll get my own Wi-Fi really hooked up. But I know it's been a while since I have talked to you guys, mainly because sound is doing good now. Good. Okay, it might have been that when I was playing the song, and then maybe when my own video was on at the same time, it just maybe not good enough. Hey there, Tere. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Out of Mind. I hope you're doing well in academia. I am doing well. I actually wrote my first essay. And so far I'm getting mostly A's, mostly top scores. A couple of my papers, like my essay was, I think, like a B. But it was my first one, and it was the first time that I ever done MLA style writing. But I gotta tell you, the main thing is how it can expand your mind. And there's been a few things that I really learned, and I really took into account my viewpoint about media at one time. And I still have pretty much the same viewpoint, but it just kind of helps you have a better perspective about it. But I'll get more into that later. I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm going to focus on censorship. I'm also going to update you guys on what's going on myrabbithole.com. I want to do more I want to blog more. I'd like to write a book, possibly. I don't know if that would be fiction or autobiographical. I'd also like to do a book about Buanon and my own experience being in this media that I believe is responsible for launching it. And I'm gonna cap on that tonight with David Wilcock. There was something that I noticed in one of his last videos, which I became aware of by C.W. Chanter. I was watching his couple of his live streams. That's why I want to bring up C.W. I want to bring up C.W. for a couple of reasons. One, I was just on his live stream a couple of days ago for a little bit. I think it was on Saturday. I was on. Hi, RD. Yeah, I was hoping you would see my tweet tonight. So it's good to see you here tuning in. Yeah, I wanted to recap on a few people that, like I said, I put Simon Says, and we know that Simon Says is Simon Parks. Simon Parks has written the new Constitution for the United States. And I find that, really, thank you, Simon. Thank you that you're in England and that you think that you can rewrite our Constitution. As a matter of fact, I have the PDF pulled up to share with you guys a little bit. I see you gave a smiley face there. I mean, come on. How could it be more entertaining than Mr. Alien Cat Queen? UFO Cat Queen, alien hybrid. You know what I'm talking about, right? And he has now gone so far as to rewrite our Constitution. And apparently there's another video. I haven't read that video yet, but apparently he has also been asked by the Illuminati to do some stuff too. Now, I don't know if he's actually really doing it, but how much more stuff can these be? How much more can they make up? I just want to know, how much more can you guys make up? Such fantasy out there, that you really think that you need to rewrite the United States Constitution over in England. It's I don't know what to say about that. All right. Okay. I'm gonna try to calm down on that for a second. I'm gonna try to calm down. All right. Driving instructor by day. Yeah. Constitutionalist Wait, never mind. I'm going to show this. Show. Driving instructor by day rewrites Constitution by night. Ah ha 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 ha. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, like hey, Simon Says. Didn't know that we actually needed to rewrite the Constitution. I happen to like the Bill of Rights too, by the way, and the Declaration of Independence. I happen to like those things. I didn't realize that you had an I don't want to spit. You had to outdo the forefathers and write us a new Constitution. Stop. Just stop. Okay. Just stop. One thing that I want to make a comment about is Robert David Steele. Now, I am sorry to hear that he's passing. I was not a fan of his, by the way, though. I really wasn't. Out of mind is there. Don't challenge the butters, Tere. Ha ha ha. Thanks. I gotta breathe. I'm probably gonna have a little bit of delay in putting these up. Again, I have some internet challenges tonight, but we're just gonna get to it. I'm gonna try not to be here too long because I am in school, so I'm kind of like, and I have a feeling some of my teachers are watching, so I don't want to go, hey, maybe you would have gotten the paper done if you hadn't done your podcast, or your live stream, but. The reason why I'm going to school is to improve on this too as well, right? I figured if I got a real journalism degree, I knew how to really write about what was going on. And I think this is a form of media, and this media is interesting. I think it's very interesting. And this media is also a part of the paradigm that's happening here in the world. Like you have no idea how powerful YouTube is, or even the other stations out there, or even on social media is really powerful. So why do you think everybody's censored? By the way, Facebook is for old people now. I don't know if you know that. Like the younger generation sometimes look at Facebook and go, I don't want to be on something that my parents are on. But so it's like, how does it feel? How does it feel to be an old fuck smoking your pipe in the middle of Oregon and being told by Facebook that you're in jail or that you've lost your account, right? It's like people over 50 are slapped on the hand like they need to be, in like they're bad boys. All right, so I just wanted to point that out for a second. Okay, so I know a lot of people think that censorship is necessary. I guess you can be censored if you're not an official person. Like if you're not really the press. If you don't really have, you're not really a journalist. You don't fall under the same category. If you're just flapping your mouth, giving an opinion, we're almost like not allowed to really give an opinion unless it's been approved by the FDA. Okay, there's a doggy here. I don't know if you know, but I tweeted something out on Twitter where I was watching CW Chanter and Leo was staring at the iPad, and and so I captured Leo because I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I think CW Chanter made some comment like, "Oh, poor him" or whatever, but it's like, if you have an animal watching you while you're talking on a little screen, you must be doing something right. Okay, so that's all I can say there. RD chillin', haha, I'm only on Telegram, purged from FB and Twitter. See, RD is like exactly what I'm talking about. Being taken off of everything, being slapped on the hand, being punished, and everything. Well, all right, so I had a complete redo anyways. I'm a reformed bad person, so I'm trying to be good here. So, all right, now let's go to, where do we start? I started talking about Simon Parks. I haven't totally read his constitution yet, but I do have it pulled up here. So maybe let's start with that. I'll share really quick. And loving it. Harvest. Yes, RD. I bet it is. I bet it is. Okay. So, and we're not talking about pumpkins, folks. All right. Let's expand this a little bit here. Okay. So this is the Constitution that that Simon Says has written, and let's just go through a little bit. Let's go through what happens. Declaration of the People of the United States for Global Peace and Prosperity. When in the course of recent human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands, the powers of each state in the United States, separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and the nature's God entitled them. A decent, that's a little typo right there. That the A needs to be slower, closer. And I'm not sure, but there might be a fragmented sentence in there. Okay, I'm just kidding. All right. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation from the authorities imposed by those oligopolists that control all via corruption and influence. Okay, I don't see how this is a constitution, but Man of God Declaration of the People of the United States Global Peace Prosperity. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Okay, we already got that in our constitution. This is the best part. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and women. All right, let's, I'm going to say something about like the nomenclature that I'm learning, that we're supposed to say persons now, or not make it like male, female. So maybe like somebody needs to edit the Constitution. I'm joking. All right. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights are instituted among men. Okay, this is going someplace else, right? Like what was it? And about like being in the image of your Creator, right? Pursuit, happiness, image, and because unalienable rights. It's been hybrided, so. I'm going to say plagiarism here, Simon, and I hope you decided to do a footnote at the end of this is where you got that from, all right? So let's go back again. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form, and them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all sufferable, then to right themselves by which they are. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been patient sufferance of these states in the United States, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's alter our former systems of government because, the other ones, let's just throw them all out. The history of the present influence of oligopolist supporting the secret societies such as the Illuminati, Kabbalist, is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having to object the establishment of absolute tyranny over not only the great people of the United States, but all the people of all nations in the globe. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. They refuse assent to laws by corruption of the truth, which is evidenced by the 2020 U.S. elections fraud and misrepresentations of every level. We, the people, have been usurped of our legal right to exercise and see through our basic right to vote, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good and proper representation. Now, okay, he is also going on with the election fraud dialogue, and we could have a debate about that. But it is one of those things that FaceTime say anything about the election or any of the social media stuff. They will say, oh, the U.S. votes were correct, or, that third-party fact checkers say blank. There are people in this particular, but it's people like Simon Parks that are living in another country that are telling, look, why, to me, it's just outrageous that somebody who's not a United States citizen is like redoing our Constitution. And it's also pretty ridiculous that somebody who is, I don't know if they're still doing the Asian and Indian cooking channels. I haven't seen any recently, but how they popped up everywhere. Who signs it, then it's all about. All right, so I just think this is pretty. I know I'm not like totally talking about, the things that I have on my posts, and, we're going to get to that. But I guess like because of the fact that I'm reading Simon Says Constitution, his new Constitution that he thinks he needs to write for the United States, let's just try to protect the same Constitution that we have right now. Like it feels like even like waving a flag is offensive to people, that we're not supposed to be patriotic in any way. We should be ashamed of our history, and the entire culture needs to be taken down. But at the same time, people have more than one side to them. There's good and bad in people, and there's something that happened that our founding fathers did to the United States and our Constitution that was cleverly written to have balances and checks to it. The problem is I think that people aren't really becoming illiterate, or how important it is for there to be freedom of the press, that we can have open dialogue about what's being presented in front of us. And one last thing before I go off into something else. Hi, Electropig. It's good to see you. Not my rabbit hole, Tere. Joyce. G. Monin. Yeah. We'll see what happens. But people like Simon Says is not helping the situation. He's making us look worse. And I'm wondering if that's why these people are actually really here. That they're actually here in media to play the other card of what is worse. And I say that a lot of people that are in this community, this niche, this UFO niche, that the Carrie Cassidy and in us being curious about whatever's going on, having these conversations, like the American Freedom Radio people and the Revolution Radio people, and however, us look what's happening right now. And do you think that the people that you are following are representing your best interests in the media? That's my argument. No, I think they're messing it up. And when you look at somebody who, is going, oh yeah, my mommy and my daddy are actually really aliens, and my other mommy was an alcoholic, and I'm talking about Simon Says, right? and and I have relations with an alien cat queen, and he's rewriting our constitution, and he's like doing things like asking women to smear stuff on a necktie for him, and these creepy stories and stuff like that. Oh, everybody can go, well, those stories are just being told because because they need to smear his name and stuff like that. But I don't think that's what's happening in this case. Like, for example, Miles Johnston came out and rambled on about, how he's being chased by cars and this and that. And then all of a sudden there's this big donate button. Donate to me. I am, being scoped out by the MI6. I don't think he said MI6, but there are stories of like, oh, because of what I'm talking about, I'm getting blank, blank, blank. Do you believe it? Oh, and by the way, guess who else is out of prison now? Sean David Morton. See, I'm beginning to wonder if these guys, and I'm not saying they are, all right, but I'm beginning to wonder, it's like, do we just get another story, just another story, just another story, so we can keep, because they can be a hero in our eyes, and then we can give them another donation, or we can buy whatever they're doing, or then we can go see them talk in their lectures, or whatever about him. Like the Michael Jacobs and the Charlie Wards and all these different people that have been doing stuff. Now, there's something I want to show you. A couple things before I go, and hopefully I've got a good enough internet. It's 11 o'clock right now, so I started at 10. All right, I don't want to go too long because I still have to go to school. I want to show you something about on David Wilcock. On his and recently, just because I put CW Chanter in there, I was on CW Chanter's channel a couple of days ago, and it had to do with home, AM Propos. Basically from an old video, but I was on for a little while. We were talking about things. I said a few things, right? Okay, so I'm going to click onto this for a second. And I'm just really wanting to show you a graphic, really, because David goes back into talking about things that he wrote in his blog in 2012.
Earth has its own sentience. The Earth's
What's kind of funny about this video is that he has to have all these camera angles with his wife, and they're kind of botched. Like his head kind of like it's not done right. It's not right. He has a rough start, really, unfortunately. Okay, so hopefully, I guess I will play a little bit of it. Let me see if I can get a better frame here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It starts about here. So let's go here. And I'll let it buffer it for a little bit. Okay, here we go. Let's go here.
In my previous.
Oh, you know what? I don't think I've shared it. Let me make sure that I did the volume right. Sorry. I'm just anal, and I haven't done a show for a while, so I want to make sure I did it right. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's watch this.
Classes, there is a language. Your dreams do talk in symbology and metaphor, and oftentimes there are metaphorical answers that are given.
Okay, another thing I should do too is put my banner on, just to make sure that I do the fair use. Okay, so this is fair use. This is transformative work. We are educating the public and critiquing the video we are sharing. This is covered under the fair use and allowable by law. All right, so I'm going to only show a little bit because I want to get to that one part.
Given to you in your dreams to the most pressing problems in your day-by-day life. Therefore, if you actually can learn what your dreams are saying, so New Book Awakening in the Dream does have the basics of that. I don't know, $6 you can get it on Amazon or wherever you'd like to pick it up, but I would highly recommend that as a supplement to what I'm giving you today, because that is in way more detail than I can do here about the history of the Law of One all kinds of stuff having to do with the prophecies that they gave and how it's all coming into fruition now. And the book also describes, for the first time in any book, my own involvement with them and how I received telepathic contact, how I worked very hard. I mean, it's like learning how to play concert piano. It's not easy to learn how to have contact with these beings telepathically. You have to be a great meditator. You have to have a great ability to quiet your mind down. You need to basically figure out how to get yourself free of anxiety, negative emotion, that kind of stuff. Then you have to do all these practices having to do with light as a feather, stiff as a board, mind awake, body asleep.
Okay, and so light as a feather, stiff as a board. That is one of the things that C.W. Chanter picked up, and that was like a childhood thing that you did, like light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. It was like kind of a, and then it's also depicted in the movie The Craft about witchcraft. So it's just like he's like repeating something that, I mean, like, seriously, is this part of it? Like, this is part of the way to communicate with the alien beings that know what's going to happen in our future and what humanity has to do.
I also like to use conversation as a meditation practice, where I am very conscious of not saying anything other than complete sentences. And once I say this and then I start thinking about it, it's not going to work. I'll make an error.
He's really beginning to look like one of Stephen Campion's, cartoon, face characters, right? Isn't he kind of like, okay?
But for the most part, in the mid-1990s, I began this exercise of trying to speak in complete sentences and not use the crutch words that most people have. You often hear people say...
I'm going to interrupt one more time, too. And I didn't realize, I forgot that he is a New York Times bestseller twice. So he has really had, some mainstream attention, and also a regular on Ancient Aliens as a commentary person. So, here we go.
Well, I mean, the thing is that... Oh, I hate that one. I cannot stand the thing is that. And everybody does it right now. Everybody does it. Anyway, that's my pet peeve. When you get to this point of the telepathic interaction, you're not supposed to have any emotional reactions to it. You're not supposed to get excited. You're not supposed to be sad. You shouldn't be hungry. And you don't want to analyze it. So you're hearing words and you just write them down or dictate them into a recording device, which is how I ended up doing it. And then you only transcribe it and try to analyze it later. And the analytical mind will destroy the results. If you are understanding what you're saying and you think you're channeling, then you're not channeling. Correct channeling, you do not know what you're saying. And it takes a very deep level of meditation to kind of get away from yourself.
I wonder what Kevin Moore would say about that. Or what about that one guy that channeled Metatron or whatever? Like people that do channeling, they don't know what you don't know what you're saying. You've got to do a hodgepodge of words that mean nothing and then figure it out. Here's his logic here in this.
Enough that you can let this thing happen. Let the speaking take place without interfering with it, without thinking about it, without listening to it, without trying to understand it. You're just happy that it's happening and you just stay in this very blissful space, but you don't pay any attention to the words at all. If they sound like nonsense, if they sound like garbage, that's good. Because unfortunately, people want the words to sound right. They want the sentences to sound right. And if you do that, you're going to ruin it. So, because you're thinking about it. So this is all stuff I learned from remote viewing. I talk about it in the new book. Again, title is Awakening in the Dream. I don't have any here, but I do have them over at the other place. So when I got to this level where I started to get this telepathic information downloaded to me.
Here we go.
As you can see right here,
that's
April 15th.
That's what I wanted to show you. All right. This is a blog that he did April 15th, 2009, David's blog. And he was talking about 2012. What does this say right here? What does that say? The Great Awakening. The Great Awakening. Like, where have we heard this before? Oh, I'm sorry, that's Buanon. How funny that David Wilcock was doing a Buanon buzzword back in 2012. The Great Awakening. Did this come from him? Like, how connected is David Wilcock to? This is what I'm questioning. How connected is David Wilcock to Buanon? If he's been saying it back then, what was he like? He'll go like, I can source the video here. I'm gonna source it. I'll make sure that I source it in the I'm gonna put it in the chat, and then I'll try to source it. I'll make sure I source it in the video later. Oh no, that's his video. Oh my god! I'm looking at his video and I'm like trying to put it in. I go, how did I get a super chat? It's like, okay, wait, it's not mine because I don't have super chat yet. If you're seeing this channel and you like me, please like me so that I can maybe one day get super chat. Okay, I have new comments, but it's wanting to like be stuck right there. So hopefully it will unstick and I can respond to some of you guys. Let me see if that happens, and then I can, lift up and let me do that. I waited too long. Okay, so let's remember when Pizzagate was happening, right? And there was a guy named David Seaman that was doing all these videos. And remember who hooked up with him? Who hooked up with them was David Wilcock. David Wilcock came in and started talking about stuff and was feeding into that and everything like that. David Wilcock has been in the background of a lot of this stuff. That's the part that bothers me the most about David Wilcock. I mean, you could debate what you think is, the law of one, the book of one, aliens, whatever you think is real. I'm not here to have that argument with you. I'm having the argument that these people are saying phrases that are involved with what happened at the Capitol building. And now we're at a point where if you don't want to do this, you get blamed for being those people that are part of the Capitol building. That's what I'm saying. That's what is that a coincidence? Because you know what? Usually there, if we're in the spiritual world, there are no coincidences, right? Right? Is that a coincidence? I know this doesn't make me popular for some people, but you know what? It's okay. I'd rather not be popular and share with you what I think and analyze what I think. You could, if you want to debate me, you put a comment. Don't be rude to me. Don't say I look like Bruce Valanche. All right. Don't put down my looks. All right. But if you have an argument, then let's logically talk about it. I'm open to your thoughts, even if they don't agree with mine, but just don't insult me or don't be rude. Don't be rude when you argue about something, because that's not debate. That's not healthy debate in society. And we as a community need to learn not to be different, to be better than that. Let's be better. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is actually share a little bit of with this retired Navy SEAL Don Shipley. Apparently, I'm finding out a guy named Bill Brockbrader actually is in our community, has been like the super soldier coming out through again, guess who's behind this is Carrie Cassidy. But apparently he's on this sex offender list for molesting a young woman, and he's going to go into that. And the connection that I made with it too was that Eva Moore was associated, and Eva Moore used to be a host on Revolution Radio. And here we are in a media that is hybrided next to the conspiracies and all this kind of stuff, and Buanon and all that kind of stuff. Simon Parks is part of Buanon. All of that stuff has been going on, and Revolution Radio will perpetuate this underbelly of what's rumored to be happening with children. And yet the very people that are talking about it are actually guilty of doing it or associated to it. The people that are involved with the networks are associated to it. We should probably, I think, as a community, be looking in our own backyard, because if we're going to be saying that these other things happen and we have it in our own backyard, then maybe we better clean some house. All right. So I want to show you a little bit video, and sorry about one of the things I really like is like, responding to your comments, and now it's like jumping up on me here. So when I get the better internet and everything like that, I'll have better things going. So I appreciate your patience with me right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a little bit of his video, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right. I see it. Look now.
Oh, let me just make sure again that I have the right. I want to make sure you can hear it. So let me see. Now, this guy is a real Navy SEAL. So he is outing the people because Bill Brockbrader claims to be a Navy SEAL, and he was in Navy SEAL Unit 9, which never existed. And then he calls out Michael Jaco for saying that Bill Brockbrader really was, and he really proves it that he never really was a Navy SEAL. So let's go.
Okay. All right. That's enough of that. One button up here. YouTube has changed all this up, and I had this thing going. So can somebody give me a thumbs up, please? It's been a really long day around here, but okay, we're good. You know what it is? It's one button up here. YouTube changes. It said go live end stream. So I guess we're live. I am so sorry. It's only 14 minutes late, but yeah, bad for me. Okay.
You're up.
I know. Just technical stuff here. New thing. So let me try this again, guys, because this is a really important night. I appreciate you hanging out. I got a call this winter from the producer of In Pursuit with John Walsh. You can't Google Bill Brockbrader's name and not see mine come up. And that's why they contacted me. This has gone on for over a decade of a match between me and him. And I was really quite flattered by that. For anybody that doesn't know who John Walsh is, John Walsh's son, Adam, was kidnapped from a shopping mall in Florida and brutally murdered in 1981. And John became an advocate for children. Built a missing and exploited children's center in D.C., started America's Most Wanted. They've captured over 1,000 guys. And he started this new thing, In Pursuit. And they contacted me. And I traveled to Florida to be a part of that show. So a little technical difficulty here. But what I want to do is take you guys through how all this came to be. Familiarize people who don't know who Bill Brockbrader really is for what he did to land on John Walsh's TV show. So. Part of the TV show was several other people, including a U.S. Marshal that I've become quite close with. I am the Bill Brockbrader library of everything. And I turned everything I had over to him, and he helped me, and we would mind melt where Bill. Just for you guys to know exactly what I have here. Let me see if that is. That is the court-martial transcripts for Bill Brockbrader. And it is lengthy. And I have every single page of this. I know what he did. And it's what we've been saying all along. He's a child rapist. And I'm going to try to get her back on the phone. This is Bill Brockbrader's worst nightmare. I'm going to show you a video that Bill did a little bit later where he threatens this girl. Do you have time to talk?
I do, yeah. I was just catching up on your live stream here. So.
Oh, well, I didn't hit a button I was supposed to. So I'm glad you're here. I'm going to take people through and watch this show tonight. But this is Jana Lynn. And yeah, hi, everyone. And this is when Jana Lynn was.
I got a question. Like, whose channel is this? This is a retired Navy SEAL Don Shipley live, goes after Brockbrader Wednesday, September. And his channel is retired. His channel is former Buds 131. So I'll make sure that I put this in the chat too, and if you want to subscribe him, and I also add him to my description.
7 years old, and that's when it all happened. Correct? And we don't need to go all through any of this stuff because Jana Lynn and myself did 80 minutes worth of interviews that are up there. But I think she's just as excited tonight as I am to see this hopefully come to a conclusion, and me to take a few swings at some people, some conspiracy theorists that were out there that you were watching all this unfold with Bill, all these interviews and his rise to fame. Can you speak up just a little bit, Jen?
Yeah, sorry, I haven't been feeling very well today. It was his own son, Braden, that had stumbled upon these YouTube videos and came to our family and said, hey, he's out there doing this and he's saying some really horrible and inaccurate things. Like, he's trying to say that Aunt Lenny doesn't exist and that it was a government conspiracy and that, he was forced to blood like this. And so,
Yeah, did you hear her mention, conspiracy? So, anytime these guys do something, they're, it's the Illuminati, it's the government, they're being pursued. That's why Captain Mark Richards is actually in prison. It's not because he masterminded a murder like Manson. It's because he was in the secret space program, and he's a program. He's a whistleblower.
On that and
this part's kind of low on voice. I'm going to let it play a little bit though.
Just continue to kind of progress from there. And I didn't get involved in any of it because it was really hurtful. It's like I've said before 1,000 times. It's one thing to invalidate someone's experience and trauma, but to invalidate their whole existence, that's really heavy, just so you can make a buck. So I got a lot of old demons. I was dealing with another tumor at that time, and it threw me back into therapy, and I wanted to many, many times speak out and say, this guy is a complete liar. I am here. He did do these things, but I didn't have that within me, and that's where I was always very thankful toward you, because you were that voice for me. You spoke when I couldn't, and you said before, your main focus on him in the beginning definitely was for the stolen valor. But even then, you never let people forget that he still hurt this girl, that he still did these terrible things to this person, and that it's still victimizing this person by going on there and saying it never happened, to then change your story to make it sound like I was some 15-year-old Lolita needing sexual guidance from him and you made something that was already so disgusting for nobody's benefit but your own.
Well, there you go. We, Janelyn and I connected after the filming of the show. And oh boy, did we have a good time picking all this apart together. I know you don't feel well. Jana couldn't make it to Florida, but I appreciate you stopping in and just saying a couple of words. It's going to mean a lot when I get into all of them.
People will be able to see me on the show tonight, and I am excited to see how they.
Okay, so I'm gonna pop it a little bit farther in here. Okay, let's go to here.
And you can see this is from the court-martial transcripts. And there she is today. But in the videos, Bill threatens her. I'm going to release this day. If you come out, go mind your own business. The worst thing that could happen to Bill is for her and I to have connected. And who I'm ripping into tonight are all the other conspiracy theorists, and the list is long, who defended Bill Brockbrader, who made a buck off of that guy, who dismissed all this when I was telling him he's a dishonorably discharged pedophile. And this is Bill's actual DD-214. This isn't the redacted one. You see that little word dishonorable down there? Misconduct. And that is Bill Brockbrader's thing, discharged as an E1 out of the brig at Miramar, California. Now, the Social Security number's blacked out. His home address is all blacked out because that was posted on the internet by his girlfriend, wife.
That's Ava Moore.
I'll get all into that stuff, but boy, oh boy, do I have it, and so do the Marshals right now.
She was on Revolution Radio when I was on it.
So that Marshal is really you'll see him on there. I got to spend quite a bit of time with him in Florida while the show was being filmed, and he's quite some. Oh boy, he is on Bill. So the only time me and him had any kind of little things back and forth was where we thought Bill might have been, because Bill has a huge mouth, and Bill is a bad poker player. Bill can't tell any kind of story without lying about it. But Bill talks too much. He's got a big ego. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else, but he left more clues behind of his whereabouts, and I'll get into them. But Janelyn and I, on my video website, videos.extremesealexperience.com, you can search Don Shipley videos. We did over 80 minutes of video from the whole time. She was very candid about how all this came out. And Bill has told the story too. He didn't tell it like she does. And it's not hard to believe who's telling the truth in that. And I was quite flattered as well that Janelyn would have said that afterwards. She knew I was out there. She knew I was out there doing it. I always wanted to reach out to her. I knew where she was, but I never did until we heard that when the show was. Must talk to you. The rest is history. So how did we get to this point? How did all this come about? How all this came about was a YouTube channel called Project Camelot.
Here we go.
A website on the internet with a YouTube channel called Project Camelot. And it's run by a gal named Tere Cassidy, who has since been booted off of YouTube. Yeah, I know. Who's since been booted off of YouTube for coronavirus conspiracy stuff that she was posting. She's not a conspiracy. and all that other stuff. If you can keep it in check with what you're doing and make sense of it and just not automatically believe anything anybody tells you is a conspiracy theory. The thing about Carrie and her conspiracy theory channel and the work that she does is she doesn't even believe that crap. She just knows she can make money doing it with those videos. So she did a video called Inside Project Looking Glass, interview with an ex-Navy SEAL, and it was Bill Brockbrader. But he was going by the name Bill Wood. And somebody sent me that video. See, I don't find these guys. People send them to me. And I watched that thing. It was just the biggest load of just crap, fake, lies, everything. And it all fell under that It's Classified. Bill was a It's Classified guy at this crazy team called Team 9. And it just went on and on. Comes to find out, because, and that's why I rely so much on you guys, and I will tonight. You guys are masters with keyboards. You're much better than I am at it. Let me put this down a little bit. But when that interview was being conducted, one of you guys noticed some writing. It was done in a shopping mall. One of you guys noticed some writing on the door of the shopping mall, and you knew exactly what store that was and where that mall was. And guess where it was? Right in Carrie Cassidy's backyard. And in the show, they are making a huge deal of these helicopters, Black Hawk helicopters that are circling Bill, trying to prevent him from releasing data that Bill had on Area 51 and these Tomahawk missile strikes and SEAL Team 9 and all that. She kept making a big. Guess what? There's a big helicopter base, a civilian helicopter base right next to that mall. And we have all that. And Carrie was in on this whole thing. Carrie knows how to make a buck, and that's by getting you to believe some crap that she is peddling. The entire thing, I snagged it real quick off of YouTube, was ridiculous, fake, phony, and I attacked it, man. I attacked that video with vigor. I didn't know that Carrie was involved in it, and she was going to do some other shows with Bill Brockbrader, and I wrote her a very flattering email telling her who I am and how I know that you're making a big mistake.
Okay, I want to point out, Harry can go and call other people, pedos and this and that and blah, 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 and accuse other people, but she actually interviewed a convicted sex offender for molesting an underage girl. Really. So the hypocrisy of it all.
Mistake, and this guy's just going to turn on. He's going to make you look stupid. I had no idea she was really involved. I just thought she was gullible. Boy, was I wrong. She's in on it, all right. So this right now, because I'm turning this into a learning thing for people, this is where you start learning right here. Ready? I'm going to teach you something. The first lesson is believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. Believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. That is the big thing that Carrie would put out there. She would use the It's Classified thing and above top secret clearances. That's what she was coming back at me. This is way above your security clearance. You'd be surprised, girl. But to prove my point, I'm going to keep the education thing going. If you got a pencil and piece of paper, I want you to write this down. I believe this was one of the first video interviews Carrie actually did. And when she did it, these morons that she interviews are the two biggest phony. One of them's dead. The other is still clinging out there after the beating that other people have given him. But it was an interview with Duncan O'Finian.
Here we go.
That's not his real name. We know what his real name is. He never served, but that's neither here or there. And another phony who's now dead named Dave Corso. Dave served in Vietnam, but he was in the Navy. He wasn't the top Marine sniper in Vietnam. And the thing is available because Cassidy's YouTube channel has been deleted. The video is still available, but you got to search for it. It's called Black Ops Marine and the Ultimate Warrior PL. Black Ops Marine and the Ultimate Warrior PL. So when you search Black Ops Marine on YouTube and Ultimate Warrior, the first thing that's going to come up is a bunch of wrestling videos. But when you go down, this video was posted by a guy who snagged it, stole it from Gary, called Red Look, REDMULUC. REDMULUC. So for your education, after this is all over, between some, watch that video. I believe in that video that Carrie is buying all this stuff these guys are selling. This is kind of where she cuts her teeth into this, that she really thinks that these guys are probably telling the truth. But oh my gosh, those lies, their facial expressions, their mannerisms. These two were in the same, they lived in the same town, I think in Nevada, and they just got together and concocted this ridiculous story and took it. And the thing about what Carrie learned after that, because she figures this out as it being BS, but what she figures out is all I got to do is say it's classified and it's above your security clearance. It's top secret stuff and people will buy it. I don't have to provide any proof whatsoever when I do that. No proof, none. Just what comes out of their mouth, and people will believe it because I'm selling it. And there's this conspiracy theory group that believes anything anti-government about Area 51 and any of this stuff. So if anybody says it, it's instantly believed. And that's where Brockbrader made his debut with that crowd there that just believed him without any proof whatsoever. Not a single shred.
Doesn't he have a great head of hair? I mean, he's
Black Ops Marine and the Ultimate Warrior PL. No proof. It's classified. And telling people it's above their thing. The other thing that gets thrown around on these conspiracy, and we'll get into a couple of guys like this right here, and this bonehead that went after Brockbrader with just, oh boy, defending him after what I told them he had done, and they knew he was a pedophile and a dishonorably discharged guy, and they just rolled in his dung. It was just disgusting what those clowns had. That gets thrown on these channels is part of your education. Now remember, you got it's classified, it's above your security clearance, and the other one is he's a whistleblower. That gets thrown around a lot in these videos. They tag it in there, whistleblower. Everybody's, oh my God, he's going to reveal some secrets from Area 51 or these MK Ultra, all these, just it's classified stuff. Whistleblower. Let me tell you what a whistleblower is. Dan Crenshaw, the seal with one eye, Congressman Crenshaw, asked for whistleblowers to come forward today. A whistleblower, and that was over. He didn't care if you're from the State Department, you're a soldier on the ground, crew guy, ever. He wanted to come forward and tell your story, and they are going to vigorously check it and confirm the story. They're not going to go, it's classified. They're not going to say it doesn't matter, or it's just you running your lips saying you're a whistleblower. There's been some infamous whistleblowers. Julia Roberts played in the movie Aaron Brockovich of PG&E in California that had poisoned the entire town and caused all that cancer with all those kids and the families and people dying everywhere. She played a legal assistant that was investigating all this shit. And guess who she bumps into? She bumps into a whistleblower, a guy that worked at PG&E and kept all these records. Here they are, right here. Here's everything you need, right here. It's not him saying I'm a whistleblower. Somebody like Cassidy saying, talking all that stuff. that's a whistleblower, somebody that has some genuine information. So it's always it's classified. They're going to show no proof whatsoever, and they call them whistleblowers because that gets your attention. Okay, there's an alien spacecraft depot deep under the ice in Antarctica, and some whistleblowers, some Navy SEAL whistleblowers, are going to get on here and talk about it. Jan Lynn's texting. They're watching this right now. She's tough. And that girl is tough. And I feel terrible for her health problems, but we'll get back to her. So this whistleblower is not somebody that just does this, and these conspiracy theory YouTube channels just put it out as that. No proof, man. None. They don't provide anything. So I'm just merely trying to save you guys some trouble with that. The newest whistleblower that Cassidy did before she went was a guy named Captain Mark Richards.
There we go.
Mark Richards is in jail for murder, but oh no, he is a Vietnam veteran that is a whistleblower. And no, he's not. The only proof he could provide was a award certificate, an award certificate of meritorious whatever it was, that he was in a boat unit in Vietnam and it had his name on it, everything else. Somebody sent that to me. And all I did was go to warboats.com. It's the river patrol guys in Vietnam. And I found, so there's a lot of forgeries that are out there. And I'm a master at spotting fake DD-214.
Okay.
So just as they provided, we've seen a couple of them. They'll quickly flash up like they're DD-214. And then you got me in there, trying to zoom in on this thing.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the screen share there. I don't want to show you the whole video. I'm actually going to put it in the share right here, and here in the chat. I'll make sure that I have it. If you want to watch the whole thing, it's good. And he goes into Michael Jaco and talks about how he told Michael Jaco, why are you backing this guy who has a dishonorable discharge, and there's no unit called a Special Unit 9 that's ever existed in the Navy SEALs. And then Michael Jackson, to my recollection, Michael Jaco just kind of blew him off. He felt that when he called and his wife answered, his wife was like, well, he's not here, but he was there. I mean, he goes on and talks about how he feels that because Michael Jaco wasn't a Navy SEAL, but he feels that he's like sold out, like he's wanting to make the dollar. This is his opinion, and this is my assessment of what that video is. But I'm not going to show the same thing. I wanted you to see that the evidence of his research. He's a Navy SEAL, so he's I take him as being a credible source, being that who he's talking about. And of course, I thought it was interesting that he brought in the usual characters. That where does it go to? Okay, it goes to Carrie Cassidy still. It goes to there, and this is in their background. And then David Wilcock is associated, and all these people have been players in this. And we showed a little bit of David Wilcock earlier today. All right, I unfortunately, and some of you came late, and so V says thanks for the link. Oh, you're welcome. I'm trying to make sure that I give you guys the links to look at things like yourself. Raven is here. Thank you for being here. I haven't seen you in a while, so it's great to see you. And then Eloquent88 came in late. I'm not late. I guess it's morning for you. So I'm the one who's late. But I am going to wrap it up here in a little bit. And, if you want to watch the beginning and everything and share and like. And if you do want to support my work, I'm on Venmo at Tere-Joyce if you want to donate through Venmo. I have everything in the description. My PayPal is there in the description, hollywoodhempresshour@gmail.com. And also check out my My website, greatcbddeals.com. I noticed that somebody did make a purchase recently through that. It's got some really great products, and I'm going to be focusing on those things too. The next thing with my social media and stuff like that is going to be doing more marketing and stuff. But I do appreciate those of you who do support me. I appreciate you guys who show up in the chat and interact. And also, I do have some sponsors. So I appreciate you. And also, you can become a regular subscriber. There's a donating tier. I have one subscriber on my Anchor. I'm not my rabbit hole podcaster on Anchor. You can support me through Anchor as well and donate to me, as well. My Patreon, I need to get it together and flesh that out. I'm also at notmyrabbithole.com. And I do have a donate button there too as well. Now, I want to recap on Robert David Steele's death, which was tragic. I hate to see that anybody would be passing, but what was interesting to me about him was that he was very anti-COVID. And COVID is what took his life, and almost to the point, and correct me if I'm wrong, to actually acting like it didn't even exist. And then the thing that I thought was odd about it, of course, now it's a conspiracy because people are like, oh, well, it's because he was, working for the CIA and whistleblowing and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And he was speaking against the NWO and, all of that stuff. Everybody goes, oh, well, just like Miles Johnston, saying, oh, I've got these things and these people are chasing me because I'm talking about stuff and donate. Everybody has a story as to, like Bill Brockbrader. Oh, I'm a whistleblower. The government's after me. I didn't really do this to this girl. The government's after me. I even think with Sean David Morton, it's like, oh, well, he didn't really rip people off. He didn't really not pay the IRS. He's a victim for being like this, the strong man and like this. Keeps that keep for you, and then there are people them can go to that. Carrie Cassidy's like, why is everybody in have been in prison or just getting out of prison or should be going to prison or should I see that I'm losing connection, so that must be a signal that I should go now. But the last thing I thought was odd. I still have some more time here. I can see I'm back up again, but I'm trying to keep my hotspot up higher. Robert David Steele took a picture of himself. I guess was he aspirated on the aspirator and the Max, but he was able to take a selfie before he died. And I find that I'm getting a call again. I find that weird. To me, that's a little weird that he was able to get a selfie with this on, with this in, and go, and then put it out there for everybody. Doesn't anybody find that kind of odd? Like, okay, let's say there was, let's say that was his job, to play the part of somebody who didn't think that COVID really existed. But then he fakes his death and takes a selfie before he dies. And then that's his purpose, because he's perpetuating that a person who's going to be working with Cynthia McKinney and Sasha Stone and go on this big tour that's going to be pro everything with everybody else associated, Simon Parks, and then he ends up dying from the very thing that they point people at like that at as being the one and whatever. Like, he lived the stereotype. Okay, that's all I'm saying. He lived the stereotype. All right, and you know, and so maybe that makes me a bad person for saying it. You know, if he really, like, if he really is dead, right? If he hasn't been CIA, that was his part. And look, that's a conspiracy, right? But it's just odd to me that he was able to get a selfie while he, like, how sick was he? Like, man, I'm dying. I got a tube. Let me get a selfie. One last selfie lying in bed so we can all have it go viral and everything. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit odd. A little bit odd for me. That's all. So sorry for thinking it, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Okay, it makes you a good investigator. Thank you. I'm doing my best, and I'm trying to cross all the, you know, dot all the I's and cross all the T's. All right. Oh, Bodega Verati. Nice to see you. Hey, Sala Bonilla. You're up late. Hey, Tere, both Elizabeth and I are here. Did you know Sean David Morton is released? Yes, I was just talking about that. I did know he was released. I did. Before I go, if you want to type, what is your thought on that? Do you know any extra details? Like, why is he released? Guys, I got this little party thing, you know, not because I don't have hair, but because, you know, I just get bored and I thought maybe it would be fun. Anyway, yes, some souls and personalities want to memorize their own death. Maybe that's it. You know, I mean, you know, who knows at the very end, just one last selfie before I go, and then I'm out of here, right? Yep, love my bookcase in the background. Thank you. My roommate did that and set up my background for me. So yeah, it's a production. Salo says, I heard the Cassidy Show radio later will contact you as so much BS coming out of his mouth. Wow, I gotta figure out what this is. I better call her back. Must be important. Okay. Love the pink blonde. Thank you. Thanks. Something, you know, and it's just a piece, so I can take it away, and, you know, it's like, it's not permanent. Like, I've had semi-permanent pink hair before, actually. Okay. Well, Elizabeth and Salo, it's nice to see you, and I'm glad to hear that you are commenting on Sean David Morton. I did mention that he was out, you know, and you know, continuously asking for donations. You know, he's in jail, he's in prison, he's out of prison. You know, it's like blah 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 blah. But okay. On that note, it is a school night, and so and I have somebody calling me on Facebook about something. And it never ends. Okay, so take care, you guys, and God bless. It must be really important. I better get that. Bye.